Hello everyone! Welcome to this week's Shimelle Sketches Reimagined. This is my sketch for today, and I'm going to be playing with Photo Play's Tella and Norbert collection. So a couple of things about this sketch that I'm definitely changing up. So I'm going to do this sketch more like 4 6-inch squares, and then instead of having 2 photos, we're going to do 4 photos and put them something like this. And then I'm probably going to move the title to like right along this line here. And yeah, so that's my plan. That's how I'm going to kind of reimagine this sketch more like a grid. And I'm going to use 4 photos. So let's get creating, see where we go. So one of my favorite parts of this collection from Photo Play are the colors. I just think these colors, they are so beautiful. I am a huge fan of colors that aren't super pink and can be used for a lot of different applications. So I want to use as many of the patterns in this paper as I possibly can on this layout. I want to really highlight those patterns. So what I'm doing is I'm cutting 4 of the pattern papers, and I'm cutting them down to 5 3/4 by 5 3/4. And what that allows me to have is a nice border and to give this layout almost like an old school color block feel idea. And I really like how this turns out. I'm going to go ahead and kind of decide how I want to separate my patterns out. I wanted to make sure that the striped pattern and the plaid pattern, I didn't want them next to each other. I thought that that would be a little bit too busy. So now I am going to use the grid on my glass media mat, and I'm going to use my T-square ruler to get these patterns blocked and so they have the same amount of weight around all of them. And I'm going to go ahead and get them adhered down just like this. Once I have those patterns and those blocks of paper situated, I'm going to look at my photos now and decide how I want to orient them. So a lot of the decision making with the photos had more to do with where my son was facing. So I wanted to make sure that he was facing into the page layout and not looking out off the side of the page. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to back each of my photos with a really thin mat of another one of the pattern papers in this collection, so we have just a bit more pattern. So that just adds just a little bit more to the layout. And I am harnessing the power of more. I'm really embracing the idea of more pattern on this layout. And I think it turned out so nice at the end. So I'm going to go ahead and figure out where I want my journaling spot to be. I'm going to put my journaling spot up at the top. Now, this is where I'm kind of going to go and leave the sketch completely, because I'm going to put my journaling at the top and my title at the bottom, just because I felt like it just worked better that way for my photos and for all the other little bits and pieces that I'm going to go ahead and add to this layout. So I'm just going to go ahead and put my photos down. And now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make some banners. So I'm going to use, again, 2 different pattern papers that I haven't used yet. I'm going to put one at the top in that banner shape, as you can see there, and then I'm going to place this other one down at the bottom, going kind of the other direction. And I love the banners. I used 2 patterns that had a lot of white space in them so that it was still pattern, but it's a little bit of a break from the more busy patterns. And I will tell you right now, I ended up using every pattern in the collection in different quantities. So even some of them are only like the real greeny one. There's one that's like a more tone-on-tone green. That just is in the back of one of the photos. And then there's a teal one that's on the other side of the gnome pattern paper, and that one's just on the back of one photo. But they're all there. Every pattern in the collection is represented on this layout. So I'm going to go ahead now and work on my title. I didn't like the way that the white letter stickers looked against some of these backgrounds, but I like the way they looked against the red. So I'm going to do like something that is totally old school. I've done this before, but I haven't done it in years, and I mean years and years, probably even more than a decade. So I'm going to put the white stickers on this more solid colored tone-on-tone red polka dot. I'm going to ink the edges, and I'm going to use that as my title. And that adds yet more pattern to this beautiful layout. So I'm going to go ahead and get my title sorted out, and then we can start to decide where we want to put all of the adorable embellishments. There are stickers and die cuts that came in this collection, and I'm using a little bit of both. This layout is about baking, and all of my journaling is going to be about my youngest son baking, but none of the embellishments are about baking. We have gnomes and rainbows, and we were at home, so I used a little banner that said there's no place like gnome. So I used a little play on words there to kind of make everything go together a little bit. But otherwise, I didn't mind. These, like I said, these patterns really set my photos off. I felt like they worked. We were at home, we were baking. I thought that a lot of the sayings worked. I loved these little bees as a problem that can just kind of, these little bees can be an icon that kind of go throughout the layout. So I'm going to go through all of the die cuts and stickers. I'm going to add them here and there. So I'm not putting them onto my layout and sticking them down. I'm just laying them there. They're not, and then when I'm ready for them and I know that that's where they're going to stay and I don't want to pop them up, I'm going to go ahead and push them down, so to speak. So I am going to add a lot of dimension to this layout. Quite a few of these little banners and things are going to be popped up. And I also put a pop dot underneath the ends of the bannered, those papers that are bannered. And I'm just going to go ahead now. This is where everything is going to end up going. And I'm just going to give everything some lift and dimension. And yeah, that's it. Here we are. This is the last little bit of this layout. I did do the journaling, and you can see the journaling in the close-ups. I did it after the camera was turned off because I had that dedicated spot for journaling, and I generally don't journal on camera anyway, so that wasn't, that's not anything that you would have seen anyway. I usually journal off camera. I usually also journal earlier in my scrapbooking process, but because I was using that journaling box and I had it and it was right there and I knew that that was my journaling spot, I felt comfortable just going ahead and embellishing everything and knowing that I had that amount of room taken up. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed this edition of Shimelle Sketches Reimagined. I hope you like how I reimagined this sketch. I really did flip it around quite a bit, and sometimes I don't. Interrupted right at the end. All right, guys, that's it for today. I will be back tomorrow with 2 more layouts, 2 more process videos. One will go up earlier in the morning and one will go up in the evening. All right, see you all again very soon. Bye.